Okay. Thank you very much. Just very briefly, I kind of wanted to give you an overview of the company I work for, Old Castle Materials. We're a part of a bigger company called CRH. Basically, we're in 32 countries. You can see that. 3,000 locations, about 100,000 employees. We're in 3 different areas of business. Of course, materials, the part that I work in, and building products, distribution. A lot of the building products at Lowe's and Home Depot, you've probably seen some Old Castle products there. But I'm part of the materials side. And the reason I say that is we have a lot of work zones. That's the whole purpose of that history. Is we've got 44 states, over 22,000 employees just here in the U.S., and then we have that many and more overseas. So we do face a lot of issues in work zones. And I too wanted to kind of talk about Subpart K, not just access and egress. I'm going to try to go through this as fast as I can, Dave, because I'm excited to see what Dave's going to do with all these little toys up here. Make it pretty interesting. So I'm means to an end so we can get Dave up here. But we don't necessarily go by Old Castle. In the U.S., you'll see a lot of names, APAC primarily down here. And in your areas, we've got about 75 companies under different branding names across the U.S. And again, because we have a lot of work zones. So I just kind of want to back up a little bit, because from a contractor's point of view, we have a lot of challenges besides just, complying with the regulation or providing a safer means of getting through the work zone out there. And this is really what we feel like the public thinks about us, and I'm probably preaching to the choir, right? I mean, they think we're out there just to screw up their day. And they don't, as a result, though, they don't pay attention to the signs, to the barricades, to the barrels, to the workers, to each other. And that's what happens. They get very complacent. It's just another work zone. They don't pay attention to the speed limits or anything like that. But from a contractor's point of view, I mean, we're very serious about it. We're serious on our side of the cone and also on the other side of the cone to get the public through there safely. Because sometimes, of course, they don't make it through there. And when they don't, they come into our work zone on our side of the cone and impact our business and our employees. So it's very serious. And of course, Jim told you the statistics on the fatality side, but we still every year have 40,000 plus injuries in work zones every year, which is unacceptable, we think, as a contractor. Just backing up a little bit, I talked to Brad yesterday about this, that really the efforts for Subpart K that Jim had been talking about began over 5 years ago with the members of the Road Builders Association in the U.S. And this is some of the language that Brad and his association took to the Hill to start the process for Subpart K. And I show you that because the gears move very slowly. And it's because they move so slow, we need to be looking ahead even now, 5 years down the road, at what we need to be doing to get some the right laws and regulations. But I applaud Road Builders and Brad and them for 5 years ago starting this process and listening to the members. As a company, about 3 years ago, we looked at it and we said, the minimum laws and regulations, the MUTCD is not providing a safe roadway out there for the people to come through our construction zones. What can we do as a company more to make it safer for our employees and for the public? And we started looking at more ways to do that, because there were situations that went beyond what the MUTCD had typicals for. There was all kind of different situations out there that hadn't been addressed by any law or regulation. A lot of it was because of these 3 areas: speed, congestion, and of course distractions. And y'all know all about that. There's more people on the road than the roads can handle these days. So, and then the obvious cell phone that, we see every day, and that cause horrific accidents out there on the job site. That was a vest from one of our quality control technicians a couple of years ago. He was taking densities on a night job. At midnight, a drunk comes out of a bar, intrudes the work zone, hits him and drags him for about 50 yards. Him and his girlfriend were driving. They both were drunk, they drug him for about 50 yards and dropped him off there right by the paver, and then they got out and ran. Our crew tracked him down, and you can imagine what ensued after that. It's kind of a poetic justice, but it was a bad. But this happens all the time. This happens all the time. And again, I'm preaching to the choir. A lot of the stuff that we started doing 3 years ago was putting additional law enforcement out there, additional signage. Even in Missouri, it's pretty serious out there. Doing things to minimize drop-offs, trying to do everything we can through public address messages on distraction, and also, and I'm not going to steal any of Dave's thunder, but we did a lot on access and egress, getting our trucks in and out. And these things that we did as contractors, and I'm sure you did too as a contractor, we don't necessarily get paid for them. They were extra things. And sometimes we weren't allowed to do those things. Sometimes it was very hard to put out additional speed limits, lowering speed limit signs. We had to jump through a lot of hoops, and sometimes the DOTs wouldn't let us do that. Or they may not let us put additional crash trucks out there, or whatever it might be. So there's a lot of issues with trying to provide a safer work zone out there for our employees and the public. So we began a campaign early in '07, and Brad and some of you are aware of that, we put together some information, basically what you've seen and some more, and went around the country talking to DOTs, talking to trade, anybody that would listen to us, to say we need we need some means of helping us provide a safer work environment out there. And then, of course, that's what the presentation looks like right there. I'm not going to go through all of that right now, but what we got to was eventually Subpart K came about in December of '07. We were very excited about that because everything we were trying to do and more, and a lot of the other contractors were listed in Subpart K that Jim has already gone over. I'm not going to go over all those things. So it's kind of to our rescue that Subpart K happened in December of '07. They had the states, of course, had a year to prepare for it, and then in December of '08, it became effective and to be implemented. But the question is, and that's basically why I'm here today, has it been implemented? And there's some of you in here that on that consortium, Jim and Scott and Priscilla in the back, and we've realized that, and Dave, and a lot of and Brad, and a lot of the states have not implemented Subpart K yet. And that is what we need for access and egress for additional law enforcement officers to provide a safer work environment for the employees and an environment for the public to safely go through our job sites. So that's what we need. You know, our hopes from a contracting agency is that not only will Subpart K provide a safer work environment, a safer area for the public to go through, and also a level playing field on the bid table, but it'll also, provide those things that we've been wanting for over 5-6 years now, Brad, right? And it's here. The information is there. The tools are there, and the best thing we can do as contractors is go to our local states, to the DOTs, and question them on where are they with the implementation plan for Subpart K. I think we polled all 50 states. We got like 30 or 35 responses, and of those 30 or 35 responses, not everybody has implemented Subpart K yet. And some are in different stages. And now is the window of opportunity as a contractor to go to your local DOTs and say, hey, what are you doing with Subpart K, and how's that going to affect us? And now you'll have some input from a contractor's point of view, as some of these areas where it's discretion to the DOTs that we can have the input of, this is what we would like to see in your plan. So this is a good window of opportunity right now, and I would encourage you, if you're a member of Road Builders or NAPA, whoever, that they have the consortium has that information for you, and a link that they can provide to you to see where your states are in relation to implementation of Subpart K. Jim, that's all I've got. I'm kind of preaching to the choir, I know here, but the Subpart K is the answer to a lot of the contractors' prayers. So I appreciate the invitation to be here today. Thank you very much.